And
Good.
then again, what is our life journey about is how can we have both?
Yeah.
And there's a time and a place to like let the emotions flow and be there,
Yeah.
and there's a time and a place where they're a liability to
Yeah.
some degree. And so how can you be a lot more measured and focused and disciplined and analytical? So again, like this journey we take until the day we die is how can we integrate more of who we are and build the capacity and the intelligence and the wisdom to respond appropriately to life as best as we can. And I think that's what shadow work is. I think that's when people talk about, oh, becoming
Yeah.
more whole and integrated. That's what it is.
Hello, and welcome back to A Woman Refined podcast. I am your host, Lauren Renee, as always. And this month on the podcast, we have another podcaster, which I love. So, Yerasimos is here. He is from the podcast Here for the Truth that he does with a friend of mine who has been a previous guest, Joel Rafidi. Joel is an Australian like myself and met Yerasimos online, and they ended up becoming friends, starting a podcast together. And that podcast has blown up into, I would argue, one of the best podcasts out there. It is by far my favorite podcast. I had Joel on and I wanted to get Erasmus on. As I've been listening to their podcast, I realized Erasmus and I are almost exactly the same person. It's quite funny. We have very similar traits, very similar personalities, very similar archetypes in a lot of different systems. And we both like Joel, so that's a plus. But I was very excited to talk to him and just like get his take on things because I'm sure it was going to be similar to mine. And I thought it would be an enjoyable conversation. And it really was. I felt like I could have talked to Erasmus for hours. So I'm very grateful he gave us out his time. If you like this conversation, I would love it if you could give me some feedback. You can send me an email, a woman refined podcast at gmail.com, or you can shoot me a DM. I'm a woman underscore woman underscore refined on Instagram. Or simply comment wherever you're seeing this, Apple Music, Spotify, give me 5 stars, give me a thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment there. We're also on Rumble. You can watch this. It's amazing. So please let me know. It really helps the algorithm and also it just helps me understand you guys better. So I hope you enjoy this conversation. I certainly did, and I can't wait to have Erasmus back. Maybe we'll have them back together. I think that would be a really great show. And I'll see you next month.
Sure, sure,
Um,
whatever.
yeah, I think it's something that I like to us ethnic, but I'm Italian, so non-ethnic families
Wogs,
kind of
wogs, as they
wogs,
call you in
wogs,
Australia.
exactly. Yeah. I think it's something that they don't understand, like that they would feel like it's an obligation, but it just doesn't make sense to us to kind of be like I'm next door to my parents right now. Like it just makes sense that that's how we live life and that's community, that's family. And yeah, it would
Yeah,
be.
well, and it's interesting. Oh no, you go.
I was going to say, so for them, I think it would feel a bit weird, like, oh, I've grown up and
Well,
moved out, you know?
Well, and I think like because I was first generation here in the
Mm,
US, and my brother and I kind of left the home and we went on our own journey. We didn't like take over the family business and
yeah.
then like stay in the hometown. That like it was a little different for my parents to realize we were so far away. I mean, my brother and I were across the country,
Yeah.
and like people that we grew up with, they're close to home. They're there. And so I
Mm,
think it was a little weird for them. That being said, it's almost like how do I say this? Like you go on the journey and then you also realize what you have back home. Like I've
yes.
gone on my version of my hero's journey and explored life. And yet now I feel like I'm more connected to my roots. Like I'm living a life that's, in some ways similar to my parents of like working the land and
Yeah.
staying connected to nature. And then having my mom here is really special
Mm,
in a way that I didn't think it was going to be to this degree. And what I mean by that is understanding that life is finite. Like when you
mm,
lose people in your life, you start realizing more and more like this doesn't last forever.
yeah.
And something I say often when people ask me how it is with my mom being here, it's like when I hug her now, I just like hold on for an extra minute
Mm.
And like, you know, the olfactory sense is so big for human beings for memory. And
Mm.
even now I like catch myself like remembering what my dad smelled like, you know, when I would give him a hug. And
Yeah.
now with my mom, it's like when I hug her, I want to breathe in her
Trying to
essence.
soak it all in.
It like soak in the essence because, you know, she's doing okay for 82. You know, my dad lived to be 93, which was pretty awesome. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. And like just like that, she could be gone. And so I
Mm.
want to soak it up, like you said.
Yeah. It's like a reverse. Like when you become a parent for the first time, you're there like sniffing your baby's head, like trying to get it all in. And then when they grow up, they're gonna sniff your head, trying to get all of that
It's pretty
in.
amazing how
Yeah.
that is. It's
Yeah.
true. Like you do that. Like I remember like hugging my nephew, and I'm just like, oh my god, that like baby smell.
Mm.
Like you
It's like a
just, and I mean
drug.
I do it with my animals. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like just want to like hold on to it. Yeah,
Absolutely. I was telling someone the other day about my grandfather and how he always smelt very similar to how my mum smells and actually to how my son smells as well. It's like something in their genes smell very similar. But I was like, if I had to describe how he smelt, because he lived on the water and like he was in the army and he was a mechanic in the army, but he lived on boats basically. You know, loved boats, had buses, boats, did all this kind of community stuff, ran his own business, was always tinkering with things, making things. So he, to me, smelt like a combination of like grease and salt water, which is just like such a weird thing. But if I ever am like near the ocean and like say a car goes past and I can kind of smell like petrol or a little bit of grease and I'm near water, I'm like, oh my God, it's like instant taken back and he's there.
incredible.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
Anyways,
it's nice to connect
yes,
properly. I feel like we've known each other for years now,
I
like 4 or 5
know.
years
It's
from
crazy.
the good old social media and the podcast and
Yeah.
yeah.
It was as soon as you and Joel connected and Joel was like, this is the guy. I was like, cool, I trust Joel. Like if he says you're the guy,
Do,
I'm the guy.
do you know Joel from back in Australia, or did you connect just from online?
No. So Joel and I knew each other from well from online stuff that we'd seen each other's work, but we did the protest together where Joel performed
Ah,
that
okay.
massive protest. So I
Yeah.
ran the stage. I did all the back back end organizing of that kind of stuff. So I was the stage manager for that event, and yeah, we met there, and then I met Alyssa, and they didn't have Naya at the time, just Valley. So yeah, I was like, you guys
I
should
remember that.
come up on stage and watch Dad on stage. And they were like, oh no, no. I was like, no, seriously, like this is an incredible experience. You have to come up and you have to like watch this. And so yeah, I brought them up on stage. And so I was chatting with them, and then, you know, like it's such a cool moment just being on stage and having all those people energy just like flowing towards you. It's really like impactful and powerful. I think it was like maybe like 100,000 people there. It was a lot. And then, you know,
Wow.
for them, that's, you know, husband and father that's getting all of that love. It's pretty awesome. And then we connected after that and we kept in contact. And yeah, we have. And then when Joel started, you know, doing things with you, and by far my favorite podcast of all time, I have to say, like
Means a lot.
absolutely phenomenal stuff. I just like I can't get enough. I listen to it all the time and I'm just like this I feel like it should be in schools, you know. It's so good.
I mean, I listen, obviously I'm biased, but I think, you know, what we put out in the world, and again, not everyone is gonna like love everything, and it's a lot of foundational information on how do you become like the how do you take ownership of your life, obviously, and how do you think critically, and how do
Yeah.
you get clear on who you are and how you want to live in the world. And you know, I love the conversations that we put forth. And so when I hear you say something like that, and there's other people who come and email us and go, I just found your podcast and I just binged it for the last
Yeah.
3 months. I'm like, whoa, because you know, I have the people that I've listened to over the years, you know, like
Yeah.
Michael Tazarian and David
Yeah.
Whitehead, and you know, and others where I was like, man, these guys, what they're doing is incredible. And then Joel and I made the decision to start our podcast. And like I show up in my room, I sit on, you know, my chair, and then we just have a conversation and some
Yeah.
buttons are pressed. And then it goes out to thousands of people, you know,
Yeah.
at this point, thousands of people that listen to each episode. And so I forget sometimes that there are people on the opposite end of the screen of the
Yeah.
mic listening to the people we bring on, and some of the nuggets that we bring forth. And I don't know, I just feel it's one of the things I'm most proud of is having connected with
Mm.
Joel, who's a brother to me. He's someone I have such deep respect for, and for us to have created what we've created, and then to see the ripple effect, to see the people in our
Mm.
community and Friends of the Truth, through our coaching program, like people that connect with one another, and then their friends. And it's just, I don't know, it makes me really happy to see what's evolved from it all.
It's pretty amazing because it is true. You're just having conversations, but it's so like you're on purpose because it's so flow and easeful for you that it's like it means almost like it's nothing, for you to just sit down here and have these conversations. This is just what you love doing, and I feel very similarly. But you do forget that it has impact. Like everything that you do has impact, and I've had similar experiences where I've had events that I've run and people have come up to me and said, this event has literally changed my life. And you're like, so do I like die now? Like what? Have I completed my purpose? Like what's going on here? Like, am I good? Like
I know.
it's a
Well,
weird.
and all
No, you go.
no, go. Well, I was gonna say, and like it's like it's wild because when I think about some of the conversations we have, especially around the health realm,
Mm,
if one person feels like their life was saved or changed, or they didn't go down one path because they brought knowledge into their work in their life, and they applied that knowledge. That's just like mind blowing to me. Like, oh, I heard something and I was going to maybe go get a surgery, but then now I'm looking at things from a different angle. And
yeah.
I've healed myself, through the knowledge and the wisdom that I've gained from the
Mm.
lovely humans that come onto your show. It's really cool. You know what I mean?
I,
So
that's like I think the most powerful thing about your podcast. It was kind of, I was trying to think back on this before, like, had I ever come across, because I was similar to you, I've been in this realm for years and I've been doing this for such a long time. I've been exposed to all of these people for decades now. And I was like, I don't really think that I'd ever come across people who were really putting out the message, like your primary message to me comes across as like radical self-responsibility. Like
yeah.
I've read Radical Honesty, I've read, Nonviolent Communication. I heard all these different realms that I've been in, the health realm and the mystical realm and the spiritual realm and the healing realm, all of those. But the self-responsibility factor was, I feel like, especially at the beginning of your podcast, was really like, hey guys, like this is really important, and this is what we kind of how I felt your message was coming across, and that's definitely what I picked up on the most. I was like, oh, this is a new edge for me, and I'm going to really explore that. And I think that that's where it gets to the point where you're shifting people's lives because it's no longer waiting for someone to just like tell you the answer. You're giving them like a guidebook and being like, it's like a choose your own adventure book. You're like, here's all the chapters. Like, it's up to you. And then they've got to pick that. Go on it.
I love the way you described it, because even the way I think about how I've been in my life, like I feel like I like curate knowledge and share it with people, and then I just go, well, I'm not going to hold your hand during it. I get excited about things, and I
Mm,
feel like I've had a pretty good radar on like discerning like bullshit from things that are practical and cutting edge. Some of the stuff that
yeah.
I'm into, and it's just like here, like get exposed to this, and now it's on your terms. Like, what do you do with the knowledge? Like I said
Yeah.
before, you can take knowledge in, which is great, but are you applying it into your life?
Mm,
And part of the application is what you said, is radical self-responsibility, because we can get so lost in the external world,
mm,
with distraction, or like the occasional ways we fall into victim mindset and blame others and want other people to do things for us. But really, like, you have to really focus on that 2x2 real estate that you're standing on. Wherever you go, you are
mm,
there. What are you doing about it? How are you reacting to your partners? How are you reacting to your children? How are you reacting in the workplace? What, like,
mm.
when you're by yourself, how are you self-reflecting? What's coming up? Like, it's your fucking life. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing with it? And like, by no means am I like the guru of self-responsibility, but I have, it's been something that I've grown into more and more and more. And I catch myself if I feel like maybe I'm complaining, or like I want, to play victim sometimes. I'm like, listen, you're healthy, you have a brain, like, use it
Yeah.
and make
I
decisions.
I find it's odd. I don't know if you come across this, but I find that there's a lot of people who do want you to walk them through everything. Like there's a lot of people who don't. want to take responsibility for their lives. And I asked Joel this question kind of when he was on my podcast. I was like, what do you reckon about NPCs? Because like, do you reckon it's a thing? Are there people who are just never going to choose consciousness, never going to choose like that responsibility, never going to choose like actually stepping into life? Because there's so many people I come across. And even when I speak to like my spiritual mentors, they'll say to me, look, Lauren, not everyone is the shaman in the tribe. Not everyone is the medicine woman. Doesn't mean they don't have something to give, but not everyone's going to be at the level that you're at where you're like a curious person and you want to dig deeper and you want to find the things and you're like, I want to do it. A lot of people don't want to do it. A lot of people just want to numb out. And I find that really like confronting out of all the stuff that I do, and I put out all the information like you, and then you have people still going, hey, can you send me that link or to that thing? And you're like, ugh. I just
Look, I
did
sent
like
you 7 links 4 years ago and 2 years ago and 6 months ago. Go search for your emails,
100%. I've done 4 podcasts on it now, and there's a highlights,
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that like everyone's on their path. I don't know what people are here for. Some people are more drawn to the esoteric, the psychological, the philosophical. Some aren't. Ultimately, if you're content, if you're fulfilled, if you're enjoying your life with your family and you're doing the best you can,
Mm.
cool. Like I don't expect everyone to be into what I'm into because the reality is there's NPCs in the community that thinks they're so awakened. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, oh
Yeah.
wow, so you discovered COVID. That was a racket. Like
Yeah.
that automatic you makes you not an NPC. Like I don't think so because you see
Mm.
people 5 years in behaving and speaking about the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, like, and again to anyone who's still doing this, that's you. You do your thing, but like if you're still going on and on about Fauci and vaccines and this and that in the same way, like where are you putting your energy? What are you building? Like
Mm.
I mean, not that I don't care about that stuff, but like I'm focused on my wife, my animals, my business, my family, like my what I'm building, what I'm creating.
Mm.
It doesn't mean I stick my head in the sand completely, but like it's this like combative energy against something that you could also just go, no, I'm
Yeah.
not. It's like Tom Barnett always talks about offers, like accepting offers, not like there's all these offers out there. And
Mm.
what I see people accepting are things that aren't driving their life forward and also making them into healthier, more fulfilled, more joyful, peaceful beings, which I think if we're not trying to move towards more harmony, more peace, more joy, more fulfillment in our life, like I feel like something's off,
Mm.
in my opinion. And again, not to knock anyone who's like fighting the good fight, but it's just for me, I've been there, I've done that, and I don't care as much anymore. And now, I mean, I am 45 years old now, so I'm entering into a new phase in my life, and I want more peace. Now, again, it's like it makes me think of the movie Braveheart, which I watched again the other day. It's like Mel Gibson's character Wallace, he wanted to just like be in his village and raise a family and do his thing. Now, of course, like the fight came to him. So I get it. If the fight's on your doorstep, maybe some different decisions have to be made.
Mm.
So I get that. But for a lot of people, the fight is not on their doorstep in the same way. And I think they're spending a lot of time and energy thinking about things that ultimately don't matter.
Mm.
And again, I understand that this is my opinion, but I just see it all around me.
Mm. I think there's like different characters and in every story. And I it's funny that you say about Braveheart because I think back to like the Iliad and the Odyssey, and I think about like Odysseus and Achilles. And Odysseus was the same. He just wanted to like stay on his little island, and he was like even hid from them when they came and were like, "Come on, we need you to fight in the army." He's like, "No, I'm." He pretended to be crazy, and they were like, "You've got to come and fight." And he turns out to be like the smartest one of them all, who's has rather than fighting, he has to trick people to win. Uses brains over brawn. And then you've got Achilles, who's like has this idea in his head that he's fated. Like I'm either going to fight and live a short life, but it's going to be glorious and my name will be remembered forever, or I'm going to live a really long life, but no one will remember me. And he has to choose like, which one am I going to be? And he chooses, to fight and die and be remembered forever, which he has been, thousands and thousands of years later, we're talking about it still. And Brad Pitt gets to play him in a very bad knockoff of the book.
Yeah. wasn't the greatest movie. Although I love the one scene where he like jumps and then takes out the big guy
Oh
like
yeah,
inside through
yeah,
his
when he
neck.
kind of
But that
climbs
scene
up
was
him.
pretty great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was good. I like that was a great scene.
It's a great movie. Like
But
I
yeah,
like the movie, but it's just not the book.
there are different characters. Yeah, and there are different characters, like you said. But again, each person has to be true to themselves and figure out what is it that they want, where do they want to put their time and energy, and why are they doing it? What is the motivation? And I think that's where
Yes.
people get lost. What is the real motivation behind what you're doing and why?
But I think that's the thing. I think nobody asked themselves these questions. Like nobody sat down and gone, "Hey, what are my values? What is my goal here? What is my motivation? What moral code do I live by?" Because then when it comes knocking on their door, they haven't got that answer. So they're like, "Oh, maybe I'll just take on your moral code and you said that it's the right thing to do this, so I'll do this, you know?" Because they have no internal compass. Nobody's actually like I feel like this is what needs
Mhm.
to be taught to young kids. It's like hey, sit down and figure out who you are, where you're from, what your values are, where you're moving towards, and what do you live by? Like, what's the most important things to you? Because then you've got something to respond to. So when all of those offers, as you were saying, all those things come at you in life, as life does, you have like weapons to kind of shield against, or like parts to play, or bits to engage in, or things like you were saying, to just go, no, thanks, or to go no, and I'm going
Mhm.
to firmly say no, but also I actually don't need to fully go into that and fight that because I'm just aware of you now and I know that you're there, but I'm actually busy over here creating and contributing and giving something because I have this internal knowledge of like this is what I value. I don't value going into that and living in the depths of victimhood or fear or um aggression,
Or virtue signaling. The
virtue
virtue signaling is
signaling.
huge too.
Yeah.
Like, the people that are fighting on the front lines very often, it's like, look at me, look what I'm doing, look at
This is my
how
worth.
how good of a person I am.
Yeah.
So, and obviously it's more nuanced than just that. But again, like you said, each individual has to take a look in the mirror and be really radically honest
Yeah.
with themselves about why they do the things that they do. And obviously, parenting plays a big role in this too, with what you're saying. Like, how do we raise the next generation? Do we honor their individuality? Do we nurture them in ways that honors their soul and their specific blueprint, as
Mm.
opposed to no, you're going to do what I want you to do. You're going to look at the world the way I want you to look at the
Yeah.
world. And so obviously there's probably some hopefully positive brainwashing that goes on in the beginning, with
I think that
kids.
all
But then,
kids get brainwashed. Like I think
yeah,
you've got to decide either the system's going to do it or you're going to do it. So
yeah, especially in
choose.
those early years. And it's like, what do you, and I want to brainwash my kid, if I have one in the future, to like,
Indoctrinate
love
them.
themselves,
Yeah.
value themselves, be creative, be curious,
Yeah.
keep that sense of wonder, get clear on the things they're interested in and where they want to put their time and their energy.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I'm sure there's a part of me that's like, oh, I have this idea and how I want this child to be. But like, as a parent, you kind of have to like dance that line between, yes, I have my desires, and this is a unique being before me,
Yeah.
that has like a completely different soul journey, astrology, human design, whatever, all that stuff that is uniquely theirs. And so, how do you honor that and respect that and go, okay, let me just guide you here, and then you're going to figure out life for yourself. And then at some point, I'm going to let you go, and you're a bird, fly away, and live your life.
Yeah. And you have to break
So
those bonds too. You have to let them make the choices and make the mistakes and learn through experience, even though it's painful to watch. And I can imagine like I'm sitting
how
here
old is
saying
your child?
7.
7. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good age right there.
Yeah, yeah, we're right in that separation point. But I'm sitting here saying all this stuff about self-responsibility and being aware now, but I was not like that in my 20s at all. And I can imagine from my parents watching me go through the stuff that I went through would have been infuriating. Like this girl is so dumb. What is she doing? But you just got to let them play it out, especially my person. And he's got a very similar personality where we're very stubborn and we're very like,
Yeah.
this is just what we're going to do. But we get there in the end because I think for the family stuff, if you have the support system to come back to as well, like, and you make a mistake and then you kind of come back to regulate, and then you make a mistake and then you kind of come back again, and eventually you find your way in that. But it's tricky because you see all of those people, like you were saying before, the people that woke up during COVID And they think I still have people that I know in my life who are still deep in this because they were like, I'm not going to listen to the news. The news is false. I'm definitely going to like do my own research and follow this person now, and I'm only going to listen to this person, and this person says everything the truth. And it's like they just took their behavior that they were doing in a mainstream way and just did
Mhm.
exactly the same behavior, but are now putting it towards some conspiracy theorist or cooker or whoever on the internet, and deciding that they're now the holy grail, and they haven't actually changed the behavior that got them into that mindset in the first place. But now they're going around preaching to everyone that they're awake, and that they know what's going on. And it's tricky. It's a tricky situation because I've been there too. I've been that person who swings hard one way and then swings back the other. And it's a tough lesson to find that middle ground. And to one of the things I hear you guys say often, and especially you actually, and that I've kind of picked up in my vernacular, is to say to hold the tension of the opposites, and that nuance for me is just like it's the juice of life. Like
Yeah.
that's where you want to live. I want to be like, I'm not picking a side. I'm going to respond how it's appropriate to me. And sometimes that will be on one person's side, but I don't identify with that. I'm not here all the time. I'm just responsive to life because I have my own internal compass and I know where I'm going to go. And also, a little bit can be right from here and a little bit can be right from here, even though they're
Exactly.
conflicting. And that's okay too. And I find people find that really difficult, really, really difficult to be like, no, pick a side.
I mean, you're speaking about one of my favorite subjects. Obviously, I talk about it a lot, and I credit my early personal development work in this. I was exposed to parts work by an acting teacher, and I was about 24, 25 years old. It was doctors Hal and Sidra Stone, or these two psychologists. They created a body of work called Voice Dialogue: The Psychology of Selves and the Aware Ego. And so, Hal and Sidra, they used to talk about that, the tension of opposites, how you're almost like you're separating from these aspects of you that are driving the car, and you're realizing, oh, this is just a part of me. Oh, this is just a part of me. So what in me, like what aspect of me? It's almost like this it's like, well, they call it the aware ego process. It's like the ability to hold space and stand between the tension of opposites, and sometimes come to a third understanding, a new understanding, or different situations are going to call you to pull on this versus the opposite. And so it's an inside game for me. Like we can keep fighting these battles externally. We could keep getting lost in external distractions, but what's really going to change the world is a shift in consciousness, and it all starts at the individual level. And I don't mean shift in consciousness in this like woo-woo spiritual thing, but I mean each individual taking radical responsibility for
Mm,
their lives, for their mind, for what's happening in their body, and go, what do I need to do to heal, to grow, to know myself on a deeper level so I can be a better person, so I can move through the world in a much more healthy way. Like
mm,
that's what changes things. Like it's not going to change. Like everyone, someone's going to wave a magic wand and then the world's going to change. Sure,
mm,
there's some things that maybe influence the collective, but like I'm responsible for me,
mm,
period.
absolutely.
I'm with myself all the time.
Yeah.
What do I do about it? Do I know myself? And again, this is a value of mine. I've always been into self-knowledge. I've been curious. I've
Mm,
been self-reflected. The subjects that I've gone into over the last 20 years are things that just happen to relate to like what does it mean to be a human being and how can you be the most healthy, like conscious being that you can. So
mm,
psychology, somatic work, a lot of these esoteric stuff that I'm into, like I care about that stuff. For other people, they don't, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. What does this say to your life? What is the state of your relationships?
mm.
What's the state of your work
Yeah.
life and your purpose? And like, if it's not where you want it to be, then like you have to do something about it, and you have to
Yeah.
really look in the mirror and go, okay, stop. I'm gonna stop blaming my mom because she yelled at me a lot when I was 5 years old, or my dad because he was emotionally unavailable. Like, I get it. That's part of your story. And now what? You're going to keep looping the same
Yeah.
victim mentality over and over again for 20 years? Like,
Yeah.
so what? Life happens, shit happens. The reality is, there are people out there that have gone through way more shit that you have gone through, and they've come out on the other side and they've alchemized that and they've taken action in their lives and they've built something and they have healthy relationships and healthy families. And so, like, come on. And it's And I get some people have more privilege and some people have like more blessings in their life, but there isn't one formula, because
Mm,
for every person that like had everything, you know what I mean? They had everything, but then like what? They blew it all away on like drugs and alcohol or OD'd, you know? And then there's
mm,
someone who had nothing and built themselves up. So like, what is the thing? What is the
mm.
thing that differentiates someone that like lives a fulfilling life, lives a successful life, whatever success means to you? It's
Yeah,
something beyond that. And it starts within. And it's what we're talking about this whole time, which is you are an individual. Are you taking responsibility for your life? And are you realizing like it is yours to live? And so, however your life ends up, outside of some things that are out of your control, of course, you know, you have millions of opportunities in a single day to make a choice, make a choice, make a choice, make a choice, make a choice.
mm,
And your life ultimately becomes an amalgamation of all the choices that you've made in your life that
yes,
get you to where you are.
absolutely. It's
So,
like I always say this to my son too, like you can't control life. The only thing you can control is your reaction to it. So the thing that you need to work on, it's not bad to have the reaction, but you don't let the reaction control you. You get to make the decision. You don't let the emotion take you over and be like the thing that's driving the train. That's you. You get in there and you are the one who ultimately has to live with this. Like life is hard, life is tough, and there are people that you know, have you been to Greece? You've been
I have,
like
yeah, a bunch of
back
times.
as an adult, yeah. So, well, like I went and lived in
Yeah,
Italy.
yeah. It's been a couple of years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I went and lived in Italy like 10 years ago. And I tell you, like the people that I see as like successful in life are like the little old men who are sitting in the cafes playing their cards, drinking coffee all day in the sun with their mates. And then they go to my great uncle would go on the farm and he would go and
Mm-hmm.
mill his olives and, you know, grind them down, make some olive oil, pick all the vegetables, come home to his wife and they would make food together and then they would have a nap and then they would go to the beach in the afternoon and then they would have, you know, dinner with all their grandkids and I'm like, these people are winning. Like they've really figured
They're
out the
winning.
formula to life. These people are not millionaires. They don't have all the thing. They're not quote unquote privileged. And yet I am envious of this life. I'm envious of their contentment. I'm envious of their relationships and their rhythm. And they're just like, it's the contentment for me. I'm like, they're just so happy, not even ecstatic happy, just like content happy with just the most beautiful part of life, which for me is just relationships. And it's whether it's a relationship with like the earth or with your God or with each other, with your children, you know, everything is a relationship. And it's like learning how to cultivate relationships is a skill. It's a really big skill.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when life throws those things at you, people are going to throw things at you too. You're not going to get someone who's going to be conscious about their involvement in relationships all the time too. You're going to get people who are just assholes or people who are, you know, very triggering, let's say, or people who are narcissistic or nasty or whatever. And it's again, it's your own lesson there, your own challenge. Like, how can again, I have to deal with this person. How do I then engage in this relationship? How do I also hold boundaries for myself and protect myself and my relationship with myself here? Like, what's going on? Like, all of these things, it just takes time and it takes skill to build up. But if we're not modeled that, and I think that's what happens in those countries is like everybody's in each other's business all the time. And there's an annoying part of that. But the good part of that is that you're constantly seeing conflict and resolution. You're seeing interpersonal skills play out. Everybody has to come for Christmas and everybody's there for, you know, birthdays and everybody's yelling and arguing with each other. But you still love each other and you still have to come back next week and deal with each other for the family lunch. There's no running away. There's no hiding. There's no avoidance there. It's like, you've got to show up and you got to deal with it. And I find that's where the privilege is when you get to check out. You get to go and live your life on your little island and feel superior to everyone else and you've really got it all figured out. It's like the figuring out is in the work.
Yeah, there's definitely lessons from like the old country for sure. That I think in some Western countries, or I can only speak for the US, that like
Mm.
is lost, you know, and there is that connection to family and relationships. And I get it. Some people like, I don't know, like your family probably is highly toxic and you have to kind of go on and do your own thing. But generally speaking, like the contentment for like the simple things of life
Mm,
are something that's is something that's lost to a lot of people. And I
yeah.
love you hearing tell your story, because a story I tell very often is about 17 years ago now. Wow, I took some time and like took my savings and put on a backpack and backpacked around the world. And I was in Peru doing the trek to Machu Picchu. And I think I've told this story before on a podcast. And the porters there, they're like from
Mm.
the mountain village, and they're wearing just sandals and not rocking like their North Face vests and like
Yeah.
$200 hiking boots. And they're carrying like 70 pounds of stuff up and down, miles and miles through the
Mm,
mountains. And they have a smile on their face. There's a contentment that they
mm,
have, and they're obviously working, and they're being of service. And one the memory that sticks with me the most is I think it was on day 2 or day 3. We got to the place we were going to break down for lunch, and I took my first generation Kindle that I got.
yeah.
So this is 2008, and I sit against a big rock, and I pull out the Kindle, and like 3 of the porters just like start creeping towards me and are like looking at me. And I like turn around and they see me holding this thing, and I was like, es un libro electrónico. I'm like, it's an electronic book. And like they were just like, what is happening? Like they had no idea what was going on. It was almost like, I always say it's like the scene in Zoolander where he's like, the files are in the computer,
Yeah.
you know? And like it hit me there in a deeper way. It's like they aren't exposed to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the one thing, and back to again what you were saying, the one thing I love about travel is that it gets us outside of our bubbles, and we see how other people live. And they may not have the same amount of material things
Yeah.
that we have, and yet they have something that you cannot quantify.
Mm,
And the love and the joy and the connection and the simplicity. And also, let's be honest, the health. When I think about some of my relatives in Greece in the mountains, they weren't carnivores. They weren't
yeah.
biohacking every day. They
Yeah.
weren't vegans. They weren't like quantum physical influencer. You know what I mean?
The smoking a pack a
They,
day, drinking the also.
yeah, and they're out. They're working the land. They're content. They're not isolated, which is something I talk about often when it
Yeah.
comes to health, especially when you look at things through the G&M lens. It's like the isolation factor. And
Mm,
so when you're not isolated, you're much more resilient. You can handle things. You work together as a family, as a
yeah.
community. If there are things that are so-called traumatic, that are events that happen, well, if you're with family, if you're not isolated, if you're not alone, if you're singing, you're dancing, you're around the fire, you're drinking wine as you're going through this stuff, it's not going to have the same impact on you. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it was just a reminder going on these trips and going to these countries that some people would call third world countries.
Mm,
And I go, what can I bring back? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't want to be a porter. I don't want to lug people's
yeah.
stuff, up mountains all day. But what can I take from the lifestyle, from a person's
Mm,
essence, and go, what am I missing? How can I integrate that into my life? And one of those things was just really being content with what I have,
mm,
and the importance of relationship and simplicity.
yeah. The simplicity piece, I think, is something that I think we're really missing. And I fear that we might get to a point where we get back to that. Who knows, what's going to happen in the future. It might all blow up in our faces and we have to come back to that.
Yeah.
And I think the people who will struggle, the people who don't practice the art of simplicity, like minimizing, we have so much stuff, like stuff. I'm in the middle of moving at the moment and it's just like
Okay. You realize how
stuff.
much stuff you have. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm like, I don't even need this. What do I have this for,
Well, when you have space, you're just like, let me fill it up. And then you have, a closet here, a closet there. And then you say, let me put something in that drawer or that closet. But then you forget that you put it there. And then 6 months later and a year later, and you just keep doing the same thing, and you have more things than you need.
Mm,
And so like, I like going through like a yearly process, sometimes 2 years, but I'm just like, do I really need this?
yeah.
Like all these clothes that I haven't worn in 4 years. Do I need these clothes? Why are they here? I haven't touched them in 4 years. Like, throw
Yeah.
them in a bag, donate them, or do whatever.
Yeah. I have my
So
my best friend here at the moment, and as I was packing away some clothes and I was giving her some, I was like, "Do you want this? Do you want that? I don't want this anymore. Do you want this?" And she's like, Haven't you had that for 12 years now? Yes, I have. I was like, I'm not a hoarder, but I just don't like clothes shopping. So yeah, I just have this piece of clothing from 12 years ago. But my
Yeah, it's
problem is
amazing.
books. I am
Oh,
like,
don't get me started.
I
Don't get me started.
can't go into a bookstore without, or a secondhand shop. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's all the books. I want them
Yeah,
all.
I listen. I have so many books I haven't read. I just buy
Yeah.
them, and like some I read, but some I don't. And I mean, I won't even show you now, but like I just have like a shelf over there with like 20 books that are all disheveled on top of each other, and like because our library is already full,
Yeah.
and yeah, but it's
Yeah.
okay. I make a joke with Joel because he always messes with me because I feel like in the last like several years since we've known each other, I haven't been in that period of my life where it's been the reading period of my
Yeah.
life. Like moved to my home with my wife, we have some land, we have more responsibilities, things are
Mm.
different. So it's kind of prior to that in like my 20s and like early to mid 30s was where I was doing a lot more reading.
Yeah,
But
same.
I'm feeling that pull now to quiet down, to slow down,
Yeah.
and kind of recommit to just taking in some more information.
Yeah, it's just seasons, I
But yes,
think.
books are yeah, yeah.
I have
But
that
I just like
fantasy.
seeing books around. I like
Yeah, me
seeing that,
too.
like
This is the
yeah,
first thing I look at when I go to someone's house. I'm always like wandering over to their bookshelf. Like,
yeah,
tell me a little bit about you without me having to ask. But let me look at your bookshelf and let's see what's
yeah.
actually going on there.
Yeah, their bookshelf and their medicine cabinet.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
exactly.
see
So
if
open up
people
their
even have medicine
pantry.
cabinets
I'm like,
anymore. Yeah,
oh, that's what
yeah.
we're eating, are we?
That's so funny.
I love a good
Speaking
judgment.
of, I love like observing when I'm at the supermarket. I love seeing what people put in
People's
their
trolleys.
trolleys. Yeah, what do we? I can't remember what we call them in the U.S., but I like
Carts.
trolleys. Yeah, carts. Yes, because that's always interesting. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
I have a fantasy that, I will retire in some kind of like log cabin in front of a fire. And that's when I will read all of my books. I will spend my days reading. My grandmother actually has been doing that for the last 20, 30 years. She just goes and gets books from secondhand shops or libraries or whatever. And just all she does all day is read. I'm like, see, it can
Yeah.
be done. It can be done.
Well,
I'm saving a
it can't.
collection.
Well, yes, and like now, like we moved my mom in, and when she was younger, she would read a little bit more, but like for decades, she hasn't read much. And so I've been telling her, like, hey, why don't you focus on reading? And now, like the next day after she started a book, like a 700-page Greek book, she'll like show me the book, and it's like she's three-quarters of the way done with it.
Wow.
And she loves like talking about it, and I just encourage her because again, I think when you get older, like especially as old school Greek mom, it's like, what's my purpose? Like my
Yeah.
husband has passed away.
Yeah.
My kids, they don't really need me,
Mm.
you know? And so I want to like inspire her and like and applaud her and validate her when she's reading and say how amazing it is. Plus, my mother's teaching her first Greek cooking class for our community here. Ever since she moved
That's
here,
amazing.
I kept saying to her, I was like, listen, once you get settled in, like you're a legend in the kitchen. Like, why not teach people how to make certain Greek dishes? And so, yeah, we got about 12 people signed up for tomorrow, sold out. Like, they're coming to learn how to make spanakopita. My mom makes the spanakopita, the
Yum.
phyllo by hand. She doesn't use the store
Wow.
bought stuff. So I'm really excited for that. For the main reason is we're charging people, not a
Mm.
lot, but just enough to have skin in the game. And for me to give it to my mom, all of it, and go, look at this. Like, you did something and then you earned your own
Yes,
money
that's it.
and you're a purpose, because she tries to deflect it sometimes, and it's like I don't think she understands because she's like a housewife or an old school Greek mom. Like
Mm.
I'm like, Ma, you have knowledge and wisdom
Yeah.
that 99.4% of humans on this planet have no clue about. So I
Yeah.
understand you think you're less than because you don't know computers or remote controls or all those things,
Mm.
but you have something that people do not have. And
Yeah.
so it's like I want her to feel like she still has purpose, because I think it also relates to some of the physical health issues she's dealing with, a lot of joint pain
Mm.
and that. And so anyways, it's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to go tomorrow.
That's going to be delicious. And you get to eat
Yeah.
all the results. Like there's
Well,
nothing better than
that's
that.
the best part about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fun.
Can we make a fight for Yemista to be the next dish?
You know what? It's a little, I think it's a little more difficult for some people. I mean, we can do it, I
It's
think. I
so
think we can do it.
good. It's
It
so
is
good.
amazing. I love yummy stuff. I do.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. The tomatoes and the peppers and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
sometimes there'll
do
be
it
little
with mince or
zucchini.
without mince?
No mince. My mom can make it with mince, but
I
she
do it
does it
with
just with
mince.
the rice. Well, I would love it with the mince.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do rice and mince together. I'm like, yeah, let's get the
Uh,
protein in
that's
there.
cool. Yeah, oh my God, I can't wait now for tomorrow.
Hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's another thing. I love people who really just love and appreciate like food.
Yeah,
Like there's something talk about like community and connection and just I don't know, the deliciousness of sharing a meal with people you care
yeah.
about. Like it's hard for me to like when people don't really like food, I'm just like, I don't can I trust you?
I just
like
think
if
what have you
they
been,
just eat
what has your
for
life
energy.
been like? Like
Yeah.
food
Yeah.
for me, I'm sure it was the same for you. Like that was where everything happened around the
Yeah.
dinner table, like making the food beforehand, getting the food. Like it that was the center of life, and our whole lives revolved around food. Like whether we were coming together for food for special occasions, or that's where all of our conversations about our day happened around the dinner table. We all made the food together. We ate the food together. Everyone brought different dishes at times. It's food was the center point of our life. You go to work so you can have a house over your head, but also so you can have food in your belly. Like the whole reason that you do all these things is so you can have this beautiful food. And I totally agree with you. Like the knowledge and wisdom that these old women especially have. Like I recorded a lot of my grandmother, my nonna, my Italian
Hmm.
grandmother, before she passed because I wanted to get as many recipes and things out of her as I could before she passed. But my nonna is a little bit, she's a Scorpio. So she's
Oh, nice.
a little bit sneaky.
What
And
are
she
you?
would, I'm an Aquarius, stellium in
Oh,
Aquarius.
cool, 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 cool.
That's why I'm all like curious and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, she would leave out an ingredient or would tell you the wrong amount of an ingredient. So yours would never be as good as hers.
She
Yeah,
sabotages.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. All the
Whoa.
time,
Nona.
especially to my mom who's Australian as well. So she would be like, give you the wrong recipe. But I got around that by filming her make it. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch you make it. I'm not gonna make it. Don't write it down. Like, I'll just watch you make it. And I filmed her. So I got all the old school recipes. I gotta find the videos though. They're pretty old.
That's the way to do it. My wife and I, we over the last several years, we would when my mom was in Jersey, even here too, but obviously
Mm,
primarily it was when she was in Jersey, we'd go back there and we'd film and take notes.
yeah. Because it's like, I don't know,
My
this
mom's not a
much.
Scorpio, so she wasn't, throwing us off our game. But yeah, yeah, because it's not, they're not like, oh, 1/2 cup of, it's
No.
just like a handful of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
How much do you put in this? And I don't know, whatever you feel. I'm like, who
Yeah,
cooks by feel? And like, of course you cook by feel. Like, but
yeah.
now I do that. Now I'm like, I don't know.
Same here.
You just feel it. It's so
You
true.
just feel it. Like even like where you're putting dressing on a salad,
Yeah.
like olive oil on something. You're not like I'm not taking out a tablespoon and
Yeah.
going, I'm going to put a tablespoon of olive oil on my romaine lettuce salad. You're just like a little flick of the wrist and see what comes
Virgos
out.
and
Oh yeah,
Capricorns
that
are.
looks right.
Virgos and Capricorns are measuring. Well, the rest of us are just like,
True.
we're going
True.
freehand.
That's funny. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. You know that there was a restaurant, I think there was a famous restaurant in New York, like a famous chef or restaurateur that had all these nonas like cook
Yeah. They
food
did a
in the
movie of it.
restaurant or every. Okay, there's a movie too. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I
Yeah,
can't I can't remember what the movie's called. I watched it just recently. I think it had maybe Vince Vaughn in it. But anyways,
I think it was Vince Vaughn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was it in it was on an island. Was it on I don't know all the American
Well, I don't know about the movie, but I thought I remember reading somewhere that there was a restaurant like this in New York. I could be
was it
wrong, but
maybe it was I thought it was Jersey, but
or Jersey. Yeah.
what's one of your islands that you have? Maybe Staten Island, maybe?
Oh, could be Staten Island. Yeah, yeah, New
I
York.
don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways, it was
Yeah.
a good film. And yeah, I was like really chuffed at the end to be like, oh my God, it's a real story. They really did this. They really like got all the nonnas and the
It's
yayas in
amazing.
there
It's
to do it
amazing.
all. I was like,
Oh
I want to eat
God.
that. That'd be so good. You could not get better food than that.
No, you can't.
When I
You can't.
lived in Italy, I went on a date and he took me to the next town over where they had a restaurant and it was in the sand, like on the beach. And the grandfather and the son would go out every day on the boat and they would find all the fish and like fish the fish. And then the grandmother and the mother would cook it in the restaurant that night, and that was what we had. And I was vegetarian, and I was like, oh, what
Okay.
am I going to do? Like, oh, like I was, before that was raw vegan. It's a whole journey. Anyways, but I'm
Yeah, yeah,
living in
yeah.
Italy as a vegetarian, just going, oh no, oh no. And I thought, you know what? Just this once, this is like, you can't pass this opportunity up. The
No,
dads
you can't.
and the grandpa's gone and caught it, and then the grandma and the mom are cooking it. Yeah, okay, I'm going to eat it.
But this is the thing. You just
Best ever.
express this perfect idea of the tension of opposites. Okay.
Yeah.
You have an aspect of you that's like, I'm a vegetarian, whatever that I am a vegetarian. And then it's like, but you're in Italy and then they just got the food. And so you're like, okay, I am a vegetarian. And this is a unique experience. And I'm gonna have the experience. And you
Yeah.
know what? You didn't die.
I didn't die.
Like it's okay.
Exactly. Now I
So
eat more meat than anybody. But
yeah.
that was the start. Watch out, people. No, but it was so good. Like my feet were in the sand on the beach that was opposite the water that the fish was caught in. And that, the family that caught it is the family that cooked it. And then the nephew is our waiter. It was just like, what an experience. Like to be that close to the entire system. I have to say, I still think about that meal often.
I mean, I'm right there with you. A similar
Yeah.
experience in Greece and island of Hydra, and it's like this old guy and his wife, the only people that work there, and like whatever you figured out how to make a reservation. There was like 4 tables or 6 tables outside, and whatever he made for the
Yes.
day is what they would serve,
Perfect.
and then when they run out, they run out.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's like my
yeah,
favorite kind
great.
of restaurant. That's like, we don't have a
Yeah,
menu. It's what
yeah.
we got. I'm like,
Oh,
brilliant. Give
it
it to
was
me.
it was incredible.
Yeah, I
Uh,
never got over to Greece, and it was like my biggest regret. I was like, oh, I can either go to Greece and I can probably spend a few more months over there, or I can spend 1 month in Sweden because that's like the money that I had. I was
uh-huh.
like, oh, but I had friends in Sweden, so I went to
Yeah, I
Sweden
get it.
and went north. But yeah,
It's nice.
next time I'm
Yeah,
going to
get
Greece,
make a
going
degree
to
at
all the
some point.
islands
It's
for
a
sure.
I mean, that part of the world's special. I mean, I love Italy and I love Greece, and yeah, we almost moved there, but we decided not to, and I'm actually happy I did. We were going to move there in 2009. We're going to move there actually, we were going to move there right before the whole COVID thing went down, and that would have been a
Wow.
disaster being on a Greek island, like living during this whole thing or trying to like build a house. Like, yeah, don't get me started. It's a whole long story I won't get into, but
Wow.
that everything worked out perfectly, and I'm grateful we are where we are. But I'd like to make it back to Greece this summer if possible. It's been a couple
Mm.
of years, so
I think I would like to retire over there. I think what a
mm,
life. What a way to retire. What a way to go. I would love that.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I forgot what we were talking about now. We just went
I
off
don't
on.
know, but I love we're just talking about everything.
Yeah, it's
It's
great.
great.
This is I've actually been noticing your card in the background because you're the king of clubs.
I am. I just had an episode that came out. I was interviewed by Alexander, who we had on here for the truth. He interviewed me for his podcast that he's doing with his wife
Oh,
about
nice.
what it's like to live playing the game of the king of clubs, so it's cool.
Nice. I can't I
Have you gotten into the system at all or
I
no?
have a little bit. I can't remember what I am. I think six of
What's your
clubs.
birthday?
20.
Oh, you're actually king of clubs as well.
Oh, I thought, yeah, maybe I'm six of clubs personality or something.
It might be the personality because that's
Yeah,
the six of club is in the life path of that. So I think actually you are, yeah, January 26th is king of clubs. I remember that.
27th.
Sorry, 27th. Yeah,
Yeah,
28th is the queen of clubs because that's my niece's birthday.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
goes that way. Okay. Yeah, that'll make sense that you'd be into all these things and knowledge, being a thought leader, curious about learning and sharing that knowledge and being a truth seeker. It's kind of
We
comes with
have
the territory.
we have very similar interests, you and I. Every
Yeah.
time I'm like, yeah,
Cool.
same.
Yeah.
I've
Well, it's
got,
cool because like when you meet another king of clubs, it's like you could be like two peas in the pod, or they could be some friction,
yeah,
like they might like highlight things that you don't like about yourself, that kind of thing. But I think in
mm,
our case, it's two pod kind of thing.
yeah. I've got the book, the playing cards book, to sit down and you can almost like figure out your entire life, and you can go back in different timelines, and you can look at, say, your wife. You could look at what she is and what you are, and
Mhm.
then where. when you met and you could see that it was that day and that card was that day and you can be like, oh my God, we were like literally fated to meet on that day. Like I haven't gotten into it yet. It's on my to read list, but fascinating.
Listen, I don't understand really like how the astrology and how the cards and how a lot of this esoteric stuff like, but it lands,
Yeah.
like there is some type of, I don't know, there's this magic to the universe, and
Yeah.
there are patterns, and we live on these patterns and these templates. And I know a lot of people that have the same cards to play, and like, of course, they're different, but there's a common through line that
Yeah.
I know amongst people, or the way they look. Maybe they're a little bit more mental or cerebral, or maybe they're much more heart focused or creative, or it's really fascinating to see, and even to see like systems like the cards or human design or astrology, how they can each give you something different, but there's also crossover,
Yeah.
and that's fascinating to witness as well. So, but like anything, it's information. You hear me talk about this, like, utilize it or don't, but
Yeah.
don't get too dogmatic, because there's too many people out there that like they'll look at everything through astrology, and you can't even have a
Yeah.
conversation with them without them bringing up your astrology or the transits. And I'm like, just shut up, and can we just like
Just
talk
live.
like normal people?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that about myself as well because even I don't know if you got into enneagrams. Have you done the enneagram
I was
stuff?
exposed to it a while ago, but I've had a couple people tell me things, and they were just like different, and so it didn't land.
Ah,
But
okay.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool.
Figuring out the enneagrams for me was really helpful because it's like the way that you use your energy as well is similar to like human design. So like
Hmm.
I'm an Enneagram 8, I'm an Aquarius, which are very similar because they're both very cerebral. And then, the King of Clubs, very cerebral. And then I'm a manifesting generator, so like all of these with I think, was it is it a 5-1, a heretic and an investigator?
Oh, you're 5'1",
Yeah, like
like
we're
me.
very similar. Yeah.
Oh, wow, amazing.
And every time I listen to your podcast, I'm like, we're the same.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah. I'm a pure G, but you're MG. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
emotional or sacral?
I think hold on, I'll pull it up. I've got the app.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah,
all the
yeah.
apps for
Cool,
all the
cool.
things. I think I'm emotional, actually. But I didn't resonate with being emotional. I was like, I don't know if I really feel like I am that, but let me see.
Yeah, and during the break, this is my friend Alexander's book, who he's been on
Oh
the
yeah, play
podcast
your
and here
cards
with a
right.
couple times. A very simple entry point for people that want to really like explore what cards they're here to play in this lifetime, and I really like it.
Look at that
Yeah.
dog-eared book. So good.
Yeah. Well, it's such a great conversation starter. And also my wife and I, we host a lot of people, like friends or gatherings. And it's just like, hey, take a look at your cards. And then you have people opening it up and taking pictures of their cards. And
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool, cool.
Yeah.
How many centers to find? Do you have a lot of definition, or are you pretty open?
Split definition.
No, but I mean like your centers, like how many are colored out of the nine? Oh, yeah, so you're pretty defined. 7 out of 9. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah, I'm not well versed on the human design stuff. I would like to go into it seems quite complex. Like
It is
that
complex.
drawing is very overwhelming.
It is. There's a simplicity to it, and I like to focus on the practical, especially as the 5-1. The 5-1 is
Mm,
all about like providing practical solutions to people's like challenges in life.
yeah.
And so I like, you can obviously dive into like the nitty gritty and the
Mm,
nuance, but for most people, they're not going to. So it's like, what can you share with them that
yeah.
they can immediately integrate into their lives that's going to have an impact? And so even just focusing on strategy and authority is a
Yeah.
I say the most important piece of the puzzle. But yeah, it is. It's, you look at it, you're like, what is all this stuff? But then you can say the same thing as like someone's astrology chart, and
Yeah.
they see all
Yeah.
these shapes and lines and degrees, and you're like, well, that's how I am. I mean, I know a
Yeah.
little bit about astrology, but it just wasn't the thing. Like the
Yeah.
two that I was the most drawn to were human design and the cards, because they probably came into my life at a certain point and it
Yeah.
just landed and it resonated. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, it's
cool.
funny. It's so funny how similar we are. What's your star sign?
I'm a Gemini, so we're air. We're
Oh,
air.
right. So that's it, yeah, because we're the complementary to
Yeah.
each other.
So are you triple in your in like as moon, sun, and rising? Are you Aquarius in those, or are you just saying you have?
No, I have my Venus, my Mercury, and my Sun is Aquarius and my Jupiter. So
Gotcha.
that's four. So that makes a stellium. But then my moon is a Leo. My
Oh, me too.
ascendant, of course.
I have a Leo moon. This is amazing.
And then my,
You guys should move to California so we could be best friends.
I've always wanted to live in California. I tell you, ask my
Yeah,
parents. It's been the
that,
dream. And then
that's
my
awesome.
ascendant is Capricorn.
Okay,
And
I'm a
then,
Libra rising.
right. And then I have my Mars is in Scorpio. That's why I'm like, tell me all the things.
Okay,
I want to
okay,
know, I want to investigate.
yeah. I Mercury has a big piece of my chart because I have Gemini Sun and I have Gemini Venus and I have Virgo in three planets. I have
Wow.
Virgo Mars, Virgo something else, and Virgo something else. So like I definitely have a lot of Mercury in my chart.
Well, it balances out the Gemini, the Virgo.
Yeah, yeah. And I collect Virgos. My wife's a Virgo, my mom's a Virgo, my brother's a Virgo, my sister-in-law is a Virgo. Two
I
of my
collect
closest
Virgos
friends are
too.
Virgo. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
collect them.
Virgos and Cancers. Like literally my best friend, my dad, and another friend all born on exactly the same day. Like it's
Wow.
it's ridiculous. It's like Cancers and Virgos just like come to me. I'm like, okay, come on. The Cancers are there to be like, hey, you should probably feel your feelings because you're always up here. And then the Virgos are like, no, we encourage the thinking and the structure. Let's go deep into that. Let's have some cool conversations. It's
And
good.
then again, what is our life journey about is how can we have both?
Yeah.
And there's a time and a place to like let the emotions flow and be there,
Yeah.
and there's a time and a place where they're a liability to
Yeah.
some degree. And so how can you be a lot more measured and focused and disciplined and analytical? So again, like this journey we take until the day we die is how can we integrate more of who we are and build the capacity and the intelligence and the wisdom to respond appropriately to life as best as we can. And I think that's what shadow work is. I think that's when people talk about, oh, becoming
Yeah.
more whole and integrated. That's what it is. It's like
Yeah.
putting your arm around all these different aspects of self, even the ones that we don't want to look at,
Yeah.
and just go, oh, I know you're there. I know you're there. Because the more we do that, then we can see that in others and it makes us more compassionate. Like when I
Mm,
see people acting in ways that are, let's say, so called like negative,
mm,
sure I might have because I'm Jersey Greek. I may talk some shit. I may be a little judgmental, but I'm like I have some understanding. Like, oh, I could be that way, or I have
mm,
been that way, or
mm.
I could do those things. And so
Yeah.
it's the people that like think they're perfect and they don't do bad things and they just project onto others. Those are the ones I'm the most concerned about. The
Mm,
people that I think are the healthiest are the ones that like know that they have elements within them that are less than ideal and hopefully or have the consciousness to choose. I'm not going to choose you today. Like I'm not going to behave in this way. It's like the saying, not today,
mm.
Satan. Like
Yeah.
I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
You're knocking on the door, but I'm not going to react to my wife that way. I'm not going to say those things.
Mm,
And again, like that's maturity. That's emotional intelligence.
yeah. I
So
have a saying that's like maturation is self-mastery. And I have it on my like little board where it's my reminder board where it's like self-mastery is maturation. Like my part of my maturation process is self-mastery. And the more I can get to that, I think because, you see people all the time who are it's you think that they have it all figured out. You're like, wow, you're like, they're not going to get all these triggers. Like, or when I get to this place, it will be like this and it will be easy. And I don't think it's ever easy, or I don't think it's ever not going to happen. You are going to have those emotions come up. You are going to have those things. It's your ability to catch that. Like that person who's always making those good choices that you admire is not that person who is not getting confronted in day-to-day life. That's not why they're like that, because I mean, some people they might be extremely lucky, but most people are getting confronted in the same way that you are. They're just making different choices. And that's a really confronting place for people to start to be like, oh, I thought it was just me and being a victim, oh, it's my life and I was so hard
yeah.
and they have it so good and they're all privileged. And it's like, actually, the reality is they're just making different choices because they're being a little bit more responsible. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
It is a very tough pill to swallow. And I think when I think about my past, when I was living in more of a one season world, let's just say that I was more
Mm,
of a people pleaser, and maybe my
mm,
life, like, oh, my life is great. Like my life is like more full and more dynamic and more rich now, but like I deal with more because I have the capacity to feel more and connect to more within me. And so
yeah.
life can actually come sometimes feel a little bit more let's say, volatile, but I have a greater capacity to hold it and make different choices.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm so much more content and calm and whatever now. I feel fuller and dynamic and richer, but I feel like I have the inner tools
Yeah.
and the fluidity to just dance with life in a healthy way and make decisions that are more conscious. I don't need to think about it.
Yeah.
It's like you do the work, you do all the work, but then you just throw it away and you live your life.
Yeah.
And then you're just moving through
Yeah.
life. And hopefully you're moving through life and you're responding, like you're not punching the guy in the face that says something to you. You're
Yeah.
not going off on your mom or your wife. Like you may feel a pull, like how dare they fucking disrespect me. But then
Mm.
you know enough to go like standing between the tension of opposites, like the
Mm.
part of you it's like, I'm gonna punch you in the face because you disrespected me. And then like that's probably the other part that's like, that's not the right thing to do. Maybe you should
Yeah.
take a deep breath and communicate something to them in a much more conscious way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You got to be
Like
your own angel and devil on each shoulder.
you have to be. That's the thing. Like that's such a perfect example of what we're talking about. And even
Yeah.
when we get into like parts work or like the deeper psychological work, it's like we've seen that our whole
Yeah.
life in cartoons, in
Yeah.
movies. It's like the angel on my shoulder, the devil on my shoulder. Now, multiply that by, a whole shit ton of pairs of opposites that
Yeah.
kind of exist within us. And that's what it is like to, I think, have a human psyche and to
Yeah.
be in the world. Um, yeah, I mean, like shit.
Where do
Like
you, okay,
I'm
so
gonna.
let me,
Oh, sorry.
sorry,
Go.
you go. I was
No, no,
going to
you go. No,
say,
you go. You go.
where would you, let me ask you the question, like if someone came to you and was like total unconscious person and they're like, I've heard about this shadow work. Where do I start? What is your response? Because I've had this question asked of me and now I've like been like, that's a hard question to answer. What
Well,
do
it
you say?
depends. Okay, it depends because I'd have to like be with this person who's working on their body, but like get a sense of where they're at. Like, what is the state of their nervous system?
Mm,
Because again, there's like you can do the intellectual work. I could sit there and go, okay, let's take a notebook out. And I would like you to think about all the people in your life that you judge, you know,
yeah.
all the qualities in them that you judge. And also, I'd like you to take a list of all the qualities in the people that you over admire.
Yeah.
Because part of shadow work is bringing things that are not there, repressed, good
Mm,
or the amazing as well, and bring them to the surface. And so I find that we can do that and we can really discover parts that we have disowned within us through our judgments and through the people we over admire. So that's an exercise you can do, of course,
mm,
but it can be very cerebral.
mm,
Now, if a person is really dysregulated, like there might be some slower, softer work that I need to do with them where they're with me and I'm having them track their sensations in their body if they even
mm,
can. And
mm,
then there might be some conversation that comes up within that.
mm,
Then there's just stuff like if someone has some base level regulation, you could do some intense body work on them. And you're almost kind of bypassing the conscious mind and going directly into the subconscious and their body. And who knows what may come up. There may
yeah.
be tears that come up and then stories associated with those tears or not stories associated with those tears.
Mm,
So it's difficult to give like the wrapped up in a bow answer of like, if you want to do shadow work, do this. One, I think it's important to learn the concepts
yeah.
and to learn about psychology. Like I think it's like, oh, my mind can grasp the nature of the psyche. Let me learn about it first. Because I feel like the knowledge is a foundation, then allows you to make connections down the road. It's like
Mm,
in Rise Above the Herd, we have a module that's on parts work in the architecture of the psyche. And
mm,
something I see so often with the people that are in the program, like after they go through that, they start saying, oh, I'm noticing parts in other people, or I'm noticing the part in me, or I'm noticing that this one part comes out when I'm triggered. And so you start kind of connecting the dots on your behavior
mm,
and your interpersonal dynamics with people, because the people in our life, they're gold for highlighting things within us that we have disowned. And
mm,
so I think paying attention to how we are in our relationships and what triggers us and what we judge, what we over admire is a good starting place. But I
mm,
also think for authentic shadow work, you can't leave the body out of it. The
yeah.
body, there's literally books like based on the body as the shadow.
Yeah.
Like the body is the warehouse. It
Yeah.
stores so much. And so, yes, we can approach things cerebrally and conceptually. And I think there's value to that. There's an access point. And yet we have to start building a relationship to our sensations, our feelings, like what's coming up.
Yeah.
for that, because shadow work's a buzzword. Do some shadow work.
Mm, mm.
Even somatic work is becoming somatic work is becoming a buzzword. All these things are a buzzword, and I'm happy that more people are becoming aware of it. And at the same time, like, it's deep work. And are
Yeah.
you ready to get into it? And are you ready to be honest with yourself? Again, back to the self honesty and the self responsibility.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because listen, it is, this, like, we can have a part of us go, oh, I'm going to do this kind of work, and I'm looking forward to having this experience, and I'm going to do shadow work, but the experience and the reality of it is
Don't
like,
look forward to it.
fuck. Wait, so I
Yeah.
actually have to feel like my life is like I'm like in a washing machine, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to feel good. I mean, some
Yeah.
elements of it may feel good, but most of the time, it's like, the analogy I say often is, imagine a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Do you think that process is like, oh, yay, that feels so nice. I'm in the cocoon and
Liquefying.
I'm turning. Yeah, like, it's not to work through the stuff and to dissolve away conditioning and to
Yeah.
integrate lost aspects of self. It is not it's not for everyone. Back to the
Yeah.
beginning of this conversation, it's just not for everyone, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Okay, that's also okay.
Yeah.
I have let go of my the king of clubs can be very like judgmental. Why don't you know the things that
Yeah.
I know? And I've done a pretty decent job. By no means am I like this all the time, but I'm like, I'm better now at just letting people be
Yeah.
themselves,
Yeah.
outside of like the shit talking that I'll have with like my friends and my
Yes.
wife, like, because it's fun. But when push comes to shove, I have much more peace around people making the choices that they're making and living their life how they want to live their life. Just don't fuck with me. You fuck with
Yeah,
me, we're gonna have a
exactly.
problem.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the Taylor Swift song that's like, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. It's like that's what shadow work is. You're like, oh my God, it's me. Everything's me. I got to
Well,
deal
again,
with
it's like
it.
you've heard me say this, and I stole it from someone, or it's a common thing. But like, when you point the finger
Oh
at
yeah,
someone, three are pointing
three
back
are
at
pointing
you, and like
back. That's
it's
right.
corny, it's super corny, but it highlights something very true.
I love all of those things. Like what you resist persists.
It says,
The finger pointing.
yeah.
There's another one. I can't remember what it is, but it's all those rhyming ones. I find them
Well,
very helpful.
the only way out is through. That
Yeah.
one too. The only way out is
It's-
through. It's like you actually have to like experience the things and feel the things. Like, it can't just be this like
What is it? You got to go
contemplative.
through the breakups and the breakdowns to get to the breakthrough.
Look at that's a winner right there. That's the winner.
I've heard them all.
Yeah. But again, there's a reason why they're out there, and they're coming, because there's truth within them.
Yeah.
Even if they sound a little corny, there's truth to it. And so it's like, like you asked the question before, how does someone get into shadow work? Well, first start by like, stop fucking pointing the finger at everybody else
Yeah.
and start like pointing it back at yourself, and being curious as to why you behave the way you behave, why you react the way you react.
Yeah.
Like, part of my shadow work was living in New York City and training to be an actor. And I was fortunate, I had psychologists on the staff, and I got introduced to this form of psychospiritual work during that time. But like, going back home and witnessing my mother and father interacting, and then seeing my dad behave in a certain way and being like, oh fuck, I do that. I
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm old school. My dad's old school Greek, so like, they could be a little, you know,
They're
I don't want to say
heated.
disrespectful, but what?
Heated. They're
It could
heated.
be heated. It could be heated. My dad definitely was heated, but also like the like, I know you're just a woman.
Yeah.
You
Of
don't know.
course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I definitely, like, in my early relationships in my 20s, like sometimes like a ex-girlfriend would like share her opinion, and like my king of clubs would come in. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, shush, And meanwhile, I go back
Yeah.
home for dinner. My mom tries to tell a story, and my dad just like puts his hand up and shushes her, and then I
Yep.
go, shit. So you have to have the awareness
Yeah.
to see behavior and then go, oh, I do that too.
But you know what it is? You have to
You
tell
know
the
what I mean? And
truth.
so like, and then,
Because if you know,
yeah,
if you
well,
can
that's
see
it. It's like,
that
well,
and
you
then
have,
you go, well, that's dad. That's not me. But the element that you really need there is you have to be willing to tell the truth and be like, it's me. Oh yeah, I have issues that I need to work on. And then when you see them, you have to be honest with yourself. And that's really difficult because we're so good at like making these little lies and justifications and these stories. Like we'll put a big story to it to make it not sound so like focused on the thing that maybe is like the trigger. Like all these ways that we get around the truth. That's why I love like the fact that your podcast is called Here for the Truth. It's so perfect because it's like, yeah, that's the key element in everything right now. Come back to telling the truth because you can't escape it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And like, and a phrase that I use often is like, especially when it concerns another person, is like, you have to feel that the healthy shame, like, oh fuck, I do that thing, I behave in that way,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because that
Bring back
motivates. It's like,
shame. Yeah.
well, yeah, but because again, people are like, oh no, shame. Like, no, I mean, like, if you do something disrespectful, you should, like,
Yeah.
a healthy person is gonna feel the, oh my
Yes.
God, I just like insulted that person, and they didn't deserve that. Like,
Yeah.
what was I thinking? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to be that kind of person. What do I need to do to change?
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of what it's been, like observing my behavior and my reaction and the reactions and the data I get back from the world, and going, well, what kind of person do I want to be? Do I want a person that exemplifies these characteristics, or do I want to be a person that exemplifies these characteristics?
Yeah.
And so
All
it's
of
just
those
that it's
things
that
that we
constant
hide from.
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you kind of have to be okay. Back to what I was saying before, you got to be okay with like the darker elements of being a human.
Yeah.
There's so much taboo stuff. There's so many things like, oh, I people go, I'm not like that, and I'm like, fuck. If people got into my psyche, like, if it makes me think of the movie Minority Report. But
Yeah.
if like the government could come into my psyche, like I'd be incarcerated for life, like hundreds of
Yes.
times. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like I don't actually act on the stuff, but like the thoughts that go in my head, like even if
Yes.
it's for like a minute or like 20 seconds,
Yeah.
you're like, oh fuck, hello friend, hello devil,
Yes.
like not today,
And
you
like
know?
I just say to people, like, you think that what happens in life doesn't affect your body or like your mind? Tell me how you feel when someone cuts you off in traffic. What happens to
Oh,
your entire body? Your whole body, like shoulders go up, your hands clench, everything, and you get angry and your teeth clench, like your whole body is reacting to this one split second moment because someone's cut you off in traffic. For the rest of the day now, you're like, oh, why is my back sore? Oh,
I know. Well, I think you've probably heard me on the podcast talk about car stories, but like and that's also like a great example of like hearts. Like you're like, do 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 do. I'm
yeah.
living my life. I'm going to the grocery store, and someone cuts you
Or,
off, and all of a sudden this like killer comes in. It's
yeah.
like, I will follow you home.
Yeah.
And like, or the best part that I've said before, like, I first need to just drive by you and look at you because I need to see the person that would cause this injustice to me, that would
Yeah.
just determine that they would actually decide to cut me off. How dare they? I have to
Yeah.
look at you as if that's gonna do anything.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny, like the road rage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
It's
love this. This is great.
so it's the thought that you have where you're like, maybe I'll just drive them off the road. Maybe I'll just ram my car into the back of their car. How would you like that? Huh? How would you
Uh,
like that? You just get all like,
yeah,
maybe I can hurt
yeah,
you
yeah,
the way
yeah.
that you've hurt me. It's like, oh yeah, if we go down this path,
Well,
that's the eye for an eye.
yes, and it is, and you hit on a point. It's like there's a vulnerability that's triggered
Yeah.
that happens instantly, and a person doesn't sit with this, and they go into like an anger or attack or defense, and
Yeah.
so the vulnerability is, I could have died.
Yeah.
Like, I could have been hurt,
Yes.
and like to sit with that, oh
I'm
fuck,
scared.
and so and we obviously go into probably like a fight mode
Yeah.
in that regards, but like usually there's always some vulnerability that gets triggered within us
Yeah.
that causes us to go into this like protection mode or killing mode or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's wild, man.
You know the
Wild. Like even in our relationships.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. You know
Like the
the
things that are said to us. Anyways, you
the
go.
no, I was going to say the what's it called? The reel that's come up lately on my feed has been around like, because that's the fight mode when someone else cuts you off. But the flight mode I find is when there's this reel that's like you're driving along in your car, you listened and you're jamming out, you're listening to music and you listened a little too hard, and then you hit the curb and then you have to punish yourself by driving home in silence because you're like, oh, I did the wrong thing, and then so you've got no one else to blame. So then you just like totally flight mode. You're like, I'm out. I can't do anything anymore. I'm bad. I've run out. I must drive in silence and be really proper with this now because it's all, it's so interesting because it's the same. Sorry, I'm just going to plug my computer in. It's going to die. It's the same thing. It's like, oh, could have died. because I wasn't paying attention, but I got no one else to blame. It's on
Uh-huh.
me. And so now I feel
Uh-huh.
shame, and now I got to turn the music down, and I was bad, and I'll
Yeah.
just keep driving. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Music thing. It's like how if I'm listening to music and like something happens or like I'm trying to park or I have to turn the music down as if the music is the thing that's keeping me from
That's the
parking.
problem.
Like I
Yeah.
don't know what that is. Like does it make me think like I could focus more? But it's like I'm turning off the music like as if I need to. It doesn't matter, but I don't know why I do it. Anyways,
It's probably overwhelm.
random thought.
Probably like you're probably thinking of so many things at once. And like, especially when you're parking, you're probably like, don't hit this car, don't hit the curb. There's other traffic
Mm-hmm.
waiting for me to park right now. And I've got to, especially if you're reverse parking, I've got to get the angle right. Probably just too much going on. You probably got to turn it down.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
with like looking for an address. My mom used to always do that. I'd be like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, you're not seeing better by not listening. But
That's
she
what I
would
mean. Like that was a good
insist that
example
she is.
too.
She's like, I do see
Yeah,
better. And I'm like, maybe
yeah,
there's something to that. Maybe there's
yeah.
cut off the sensors and accelerate the other
Well,
one.
yeah, it's like you're limiting stimulation, I
Yeah.
think, on some level. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we've been chatting for a while now.
Yeah,
Which
yeah. Do you have any other questions? Any questions you have for me? No.
I didn't have questions, and
Okay.
that's like the whole point of my
No, I
podcast. I
love
got
it.
no
I loved
questions.
it.
We just chat.
I love it. My
It's
favorite. This honestly, like, this is one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done.
yay.
And I've been, yeah, yeah, like being a guest. I mean, I listen. I love the to anyone listening to this that has invited me in your podcast. I like yours too, but I just like there's it's
The
fun. We're
format.
just
You
talking about a
like the
whole bunch of
format.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. I like the
Yeah.
format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big fan, like yours, obviously, and Joe Rogan. I love how Joe just brings on his mates and just has a chat. And I kind of feel like I'm just in the room. And for my whole life, I've always just wanted to be invited into the room. So I really feel quite special when Joe Rogan puts out his podcast. He's like, yeah, come, I'm just having a chat with my mate. You guys can be there if you
Yeah.
like. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Like, I really feel like that's important. I had a podcast before 2020, before everything went
Mm-hmm.
down, and it was called The Connector. And it was just because I knew so many people with really interesting life stories. And so I would bring them on and they would tell their life story where they would, much like when you ask your guests that first, hero's journey, pivot point question.
Yeah. He's turning rights to passive.
Yeah. So I was like, what happened? Who were you before? What happened? And then who are you now? That would be the entire podcast. And at the end of the podcast, I would say, who do you know who has a story like that? So season one was all people that I knew. And then they would connect me to people that they knew, which was season two. And then that would continue on season three, season four. So they would like nominate their friends, which was really,
Oh, that's
really
cool.
cool. But then 2020 came and I was like, I can either do this podcast or I can do Instagram and help people break down the science and help them understand what this study means, because I have that ability to break it down and help people understand exactly what's going on. What do they mean when they say this? So I decided to do that because I was like, that's more of service at this point. And then when I came back, I was, when that all finished and we all moved through that phase, and I was like, I'm done with that now. I really wanted to do something that lit me up again. And I just love having these conversations. I just,
Yeah.
there's
You're
nothing
great at
that
it.
brings me more joy than this. This is just like I could do this all day, every day. And I do. I don't make any money of this. I just love doing it. I just love these conversations. And I just think the people that I have on, like you guys are just there's so much knowledge that people have that just doesn't get shared because
Mhm.
people just are too busy to sit down and like have those conversations, or they have agendas when they're going onto a podcast or something, when people are there to promote something or they're being interviewed. So they're only getting asked certain questions that they don't really get to just like let it flow. What happens here? What happens? And then when I say something, oh, you've lit something up in me and I'm going to say something and that's going to
Uh,
light something up in you. And that for me is like the juice in life. I just love it. So I
yeah, I
appreciate you.
love those. Yes, no, same here. I'm really obviously enjoying it. What's it? By the way, I don't even know the name of this podcast. So you're like, you hit me up. You're like, come on the podcast. I have no idea what you
You're
call it.
like, yeah, cool. I love that.
Yeah.
That's the best. It's called A Woman Refined. So it's
Oh, okay.
my,
I know. I
yeah.
now I know that. I know. I'm happy that you brought me on. Because I'm refining my womanhood right now. So it's
Well, it's more about just like human refinement. And
yeah.
that's for me, like the woman refined is never complete. Like the refinement process doesn't end. Like it's
Hmm.
just she's continuing on learning, forever refining, because I think that's what we're all doing. We're all just like, as we come across new information, we're going to take it in and keep refining. And I don't really have an agenda for the podcast. It was just like I put it up on my Instagram. I was like, what do you guys want me to call this? And there was two top runners. One was a Woman Refined podcast, and the other one was Listen Up Peasants.
Oh,
And I felt like
that
they're
might be a little triggering to some.
I was like, look, they're both equal parts of my personality. That's the
Yeah,
king of
yeah,
clubs. It's like, let me tell you,
yeah, yeah.
okay? Because you all don't know peasants.
Well, the king is like about refinement as well, you
Yes,
know, and it's about refinement and truth. And then it's also like you're a retard, quit being a retard, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I decided not to go with Listen Up Peasants, and we just went with, stick with the Instagram name. But, lots of
I
men
think it
on the
was a good
podcast.
call. Good call. Oh yeah, cool, cool, cool. How many episodes have you done so far?
I've done quite a lot, but I'm only releasing once a month. So I used to release weekly with the other
Ah,
podcast, but I'm going more with my cycle now. So when I'm in like follicular, I'm like, right,
okay.
that's when we're going to release a podcast. And I'm not going to pressure myself to release more because that's what everybody's doing weekly, whatever. I don't
Amazing.
work like that. I'm just going to go with my cycle. So I've released 17 now, I think, but I
That's
have
amazing.
about 10 more in the bank ready to go. So
Do you like record if you release once a month, but do you like record like a couple months to have like a couple
I've got
times a
like
month, or it
10 in
just
the bank.
depends when you feel like it?
I just record. It's like sometimes it happens where I'll record like five in a week. I'll do one every night, or I'll do two in a day and then I won't do any for months. And it's just, but always have enough. And I have people that want to come back on and like, oh, actually, can we talk about, I want to talk about this. That's a great subject. We'll be in the DMs, like something will trigger something off. We should do a podcast about this. Okay, cool. Like, well, come on. When are you going to come on? Tomorrow night. Okay, sweet. So I've got one next week and I've already got a couple booked in for January. So it just flows.
That's cool. Well, listen, you can invite me on anytime you want. We could talk about Greek food, Italian food another time. Like
We
I'm
would
down.
I'm so down for that. We would have
Yeah,
like more to talk about. I like it. It's
yeah,
because we're the same. It's
yeah,
great.
definitely. We could talk about our favorite movies. I mean, we could do a whole episode on just like our
Yes,
favorite movies and how they relate to our lives. And anyways,
all
no,
the
it's been cool.
things.
Yeah,
Well, thank you
yeah.
so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me. I feel honored actually to be invited, and I'm actually grateful to you because you have been a presence on social media and being connected, and you have been a fan of the podcast, and so I'm so grateful that like you actually like what we're doing, and because I have the deepest respect for you, for someone like you to say such positive things about our podcast, like that actually means a lot to me. Like,
Thank you.
like that's the thing where you go, wow, like these people who are like top level human beings that like what we're doing. Okay, like I feel like we're doing something. Not that I need the validation, but it's
No,
also
it's
we are
good
humans, so
reflection.
like we need
Yeah.
to. If we put something out there and everyone hates, yeah, if we put something out there and everyone hates it, we have to take a look in the mirror and go, no one's listening, no one likes our podcast. What are we doing wrong? But to see
Yeah.
that people are enjoying it, and I'm sure you have the same experience, like,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's keep going. So
That's
thank
it.
you.
Well, tell people like what you do and where they can find you because like
Oh yeah,
for
we didn't
some of
talk
them
about that.
they might not know who
No,
you are.
no.
They're like, who is this guy? I didn't even introduce you at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, my name is Yerasimos. Did we even say my name? No, yeah, I think you did. My name is Yerasimos. Um, yeah, everything that you want to know about me, you can go to the website that I have with Joel Rafiti. It's hereforthetruth.com. And so that's the main site for everything. But our podcast is called Here for the Truth. You can find us on Spotify, Apple primarily. We are back on YouTube after being deleted for a few years and censored. So you could find videos there, but you could also watch the podcast on hereforthetruth.com. And then we have our 10-week group coaching program that I think is one of a kind, and it's called Rise Above the Herd. And so you can go to hereforthetruth.com and find it there. It's /RATH, which is the acronym for Rise Above the Herd. And then we have, I think, one of the most badass online communities in the world called called Friends of the Truth. So if you're interested in the things that we talk about in the podcast, and you want to hang out with other people and laugh and get deep and do all the things, Friends of the Truth is where it's at. Again, you can find that at hereforthetruth.com. Other than that, I'm a Gemini with a Leo moon and a Libra rising and a 5/1 emotional generator in human design. I like
I
long
love
walks on the beach. I like
it.
to farm. I'm really into farming. I have a beautiful wife and a dog and 10 chickens and 5 cats right now. And yeah, anyways.
I love it. I one of your episodes where I found out that you guys actually had the video of your podcast was because I didn't know. I was just listening on Spotify, and then it was a Ralph Ellis podcast. And because oh my
Oh,
God,
which one? Like the big Jesus one, the third
oh,
3 hour
look,
one?
all of them are great. I just like
Yeah.
froth on Ralph Ellis. Like I don't believe everything that he says, but I just love him. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, get it.
I just like people who are willing to like this is his life's work, and he's
Yeah,
willing to like challenge like
yeah, I love that.
super entrenched ideology around a subject that's fascinating. So I dig it.
Yeah. But he was like, oh, I'm going to show you boys. And I think Joel was like, yeah, by the way, you can see this on herethetruth.com. Like, we got the video up. And I was like, this whole time I've just been listening. And then I was like, okay, I'm only going to watch these from now on. So I went on, watched it, and I
That's
could see
cool.
what he was showing. And I was like, this is the best. Like, I much prefer like this kind of interactive format.
It is nice to watch. It's nice to watch too because it's like, and I get it. Sometimes you want to multitask and stack
Yes.
functions, and you're like, I'm walking and cleaning dishes, whatever. But like to watch and to see the mannerisms and the facial gestures, and it's a different experience for sure.
Yeah. So if you're listening right now and Erasmus did actually hold up a book before and you want to see what the cover of the book looked like, there we go. Play your cards right. You can
Yeah,
you can see it. Because I also have it on YouTube. So, all right, thanks for joining. And yeah, I'll definitely have you back on. Maybe I'll get you and Joel in
yeah.
together and we can have like
Oh, that'd
three-way
be awesome.
insanity
Yeah,
chat.
that would be an amazing chat. That'd be awesome.
Was be
Yeah, thank
good.
you so much. Really, it's really nice to connect after all these years.
You too. And I'll talk to you soon.